Also regarding the state level, probably the biggest impact that I didn't forecast, and it was only from talking with several customers, is the amount of impact the new benchmarking standards have had on the construction industry. Now, at fear of having a horse head put into my bed, as in the old Godfather stage, from what I understand, the CFMEU union has put a lot of conditions in the contracts that have driven construction to the wall. And the Queen Street Wharf is one of the big projects that was heavily factored in. To give you an example, I was listening to one of the construction companies who works in Cairns, and one of the conditions, and you can understand the reason behind it, is if it started to rain, then the workers either walked off the job or got paid triple time. You can understand that from a safety point of view, but you also need to recognise that Cairns is going to pretty well rain every day during the wet season. And it's gotten to the stage where the projects have had such huge blowouts that the contractors and providers are going bust and going to the wall. And I'm hearing these stories 2 and 3 times a week. There's a lot of impact on there. So with the new state government, whilst they haven't said anything about that, I do hope they do address that issue. It looks like the main issue for the state government at this point in time is more in regards to security and policing, particularly with the youths. I have to admit, every time I go for a drive, there's another car that's been stolen and burnt out on the side of the road, and I live in a fairly safe regional area. So I sympathise with those who are in cities, and also the frustration that's driving that with the kids. There's always a reason for that sort of stuff. It doesn't make the behaviour acceptable, but we need to have a look at it. And whether it's discipline or whether we're having a look at re-establishing family values, we can go and talk forever. But we're here to talk about forecasts. So what will happen in regards to Queensland? So if I looked at the forecast from last year, my forecast was that there's going to be plenty of big projects. Plenty of big projects, particularly underdriven by the Olympics. I didn't get that one right. There's very little activity. I haven't seen anything new come out there. It's been pretty well stable. The completion of Queen's Wharf was great. The constant fight in regards to what they're going to do with the Gabba on the Olympics. I've yet to see anything come out to the regional area on the Olympics. Now that could well be in large part to a government not wanting to make big decisions coming up to an election. But I have to be honest, that one didn't work for me. So whilst I'm not quite quitting my day job yet, that one wasn't quite there. In regards to regional areas, last year I was forecasting that there's lots of projects. Now, in Bundaberg, we have almost got the completion of the International Aquatic Centre, so that'll be fantastic. The super brewery for Bundaberg Brew Drinks is now completed. They've actually elected to hold their old site open, so they've pretty well got the new super brewery plus the old site. So that's a commercial project as opposed to a government project. So there's plenty of money going through there. I haven't seen anything new come into the area of Bundaberg from a government point of view. There's a mountain of work going on through Joanna Boulevard and the airport precinct area, and that is pretty much underpinning the local economy in regards to construction and building. There's a good increase in leasing in the Bundaberg-Burbong Street area, so much so that I put a video out in regards to the commercial centre, the CBD, actually moving eastward because a lot of the land that used to be car yards is filled up. I don't see anything new coming out. That is a little bit concerning. Along with the state government, we also have the local elections. So we've got a new mayor. We've got almost a whole new group of councillors. And my understanding is currently their focus is on tightening the procedures and processes within the council and getting the efficiencies in there. And everyone's happy with that. But we're not seeing anything yet, and it's probably early stages yet, in regards to new projects and getting funding to get those projects. Hervey Bay is a very different story. You go down either end of Main Street and it's huge. There is a massive amount of commercial projects being built on the southern end of Main Street, which is where all the new tilt slab warehouses are being built and put up. And on the eastern side of Main Street, or the northern side, depending on which way you want to drive geographically, there is the new building for the council chambers and the library. I went there 2 days ago. They've got the scaffolding up, and it looks like it's probably about 3 or 4 stories. So it's going to be a massive project. So Hervey Bay was my focus. I think there's going to be a lot of work going down through Hervey Bay, and more so than what Bundaberg was. Bundaberg's had a really good run for 2 years, and Hervey Bay has now changed over. Hervey Bay has also announced that they're going to get, I think, an 18-storey Sheraton down there, which is massive. So there's some big projects on there. So what did I forecast last year? That it will be underpinned by projects. Look, there were plenty of projects, but I don't see anything new. So I don't know. Give it a half. I'll give it a half rather than a tick and rather across. There were plenty of projects, but nothing new coming in there. All right, so let's have a think what is going to happen internationally and see if we can't do some forecasts. Like I always say, I don't actually do forecasts. I more try to see where the future will go with the existing trends. So the big trends that we had overseas, internationally, the 2 wars will continue on. China seems to have become less aggressive in regards to its policies of expansion through the South China Sea. So much so that they're not as much purchasing from China. Like I said, thankfully that was replaced by income coming in from India. So I think China is going to be a little bit quieter, probably because their economy is very much at the stage where they need to put a bit of focus on their national economy. Their national economy is huge. They could quite easily put a brick wall around China and live happily ever after, just servicing their own economy. So that's the aspect of China. America, yes, well, hello, let's make America great again. Donald Trump has returned, like Lazarus Rising. You couldn't write a Hollywood movie, but this is what happens. How will that impact? Well, that will be hard to tell. It's the Republican Party that's in, which is the same as the Liberal Party in Australia, so it should be business focused. I haven't seen any policies in regards to what they're going to do, but we will watch this space. He will do his big chest beating around the world and how they go with China. I'm sorry. I saw Albanese the other day at, I think it was a G20, walk right past the Chinese premier and shook the hands of Biden. Just a terrible, terrible diplomatic slight of one of the most powerful people in the world. I'm sorry, Anthony. What do we do when people like that are in leadership doing stuff? Basic 101 diplomacy. You take care of all the people, especially the big ones. So internationally, I'm not sure. I think America will strengthen a little bit, which means our dollar will probably weaken because I think our economy is going to be less. So that'll help our exporters. It's not going to help our importers. And that's okay. It's winners and losers on all aspects. So in regards to my forecast for next year, I put the word tolerant up there. I think things will be stable. People have learned to tolerate the 2 wars that are going on and the diplomacy that is going between the major countries. There's always an X factor to come into play, but my first forecast is that next year internationally things may be tolerant, may be stable. Okay, what about at state level? I'm still hoping that the projects coming through from the Olympics get started and get a go-ahead, particularly infrastructure. We did have I forgot to mention, the bypass of Gympie has finally been finished, which was the last of the upgrades for the M1. The focus for the state government now should be improving the Bruce Highway north of Gympie, and that will have a huge impact in the Wide Bay region, which is where I'm located in. So that would be a pleasant to see. Then again, how much money is going to be used for that? Because we're going to need lots of money to get ready for the Olympics. And how much of that money will be spent through the regions? I think that'll be an excellent opportunity, similar to what they did in Paris. They had the surfing, I think, in Tahiti or Noumea, in one of those places. They did the big push from the Olympic Committee is not to have the Olympics in a city, but to almost have it in a country. So hopefully there'll be lots of facilities being built around regional Queensland. And regional Queensland, as in any other regional and country area of Australia, is always strong with sport. So the more infrastructure we can get in there, the better we can go. Hey, we might even get a future decent Australian cricket team. Oh, the first test, really. Well done to India. Yes, all my Indian buyers and sellers are very happy to tell me how they watch the cricket. So from a state point of view, we've also got the election coming up. Now, that'll be March, so I think things will slow down at that sort of stage. So the first quarter will probably be very slow, which isn't good for business. But then again, if they don't interfere with business, then we're probably getting better off with it. So the election nationally, my forecast is that the RBA will finally look at reality and recognise what is happening with the economy and start to drop the interest rate, not because of their borders and their parameters in regards to inflation, but just the reality that the country is hurting and it needs to get some relief. So that's my forecast for national. In regards to regional, I think this year it will be probably more stable, whereas last year I forecast a lot more growth. There are big projects on both sides of the Wide Bay region. There's also a power station in the Burnett region, so there's plenty of work to come out, but I'd like to see maybe one or two new ones. In Bundaberg, I've put a plus up there because everything will be revolving around the new hospital. And in Hervey Bay, you're looking pretty much at the new CBD being built from the local council. If we go one more step and we look at micro in regards to what will I forecast for my clients, well, the big thing will be the release of the book that I've got. It's the manuscript's written, it's ready to go to editors, and they will sure explain that English is not my first language, but that's always part and parcel of putting a book together. Our YouTube channel continues to grow. We've got we've hit 500 people on Facebook as followers. Thank you very much for everybody. And we've also got the stage where I need to do something with our newsletters. We send a newsletter out to all my buyers and sellers each month. I'm getting messages from Google saying they're almost thinking I'm a spammer from sending out that high volume, because we've got over 1,000 on our list now, which is fantastic, and it's great to see that support, and people are giving me feedback. So next year we'll probably have a look at putting that as a mailhouse function. And that's cool. That'd give us a better presentation and a slicker bit of marketing. Because let's face it, I'm not renowned for doing a lot of marketing. I know a lot of stuff, but being pretty is not one of the things I do. All right. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Remember, this is the celebration of the birth of Jesus. It doesn't matter what country you're in or what a faith you have. This is a big time and a happy time for Christians. So join in the party, bring presents, remember what the season or the reason for the season is. And I look forward to catching up with you all next year for a good, strong, vibrant commercial property and business year. Take care and God bless.